fellow heroes, and welcome to the Matrix Resurrection review. I thought it would be cool if I wore glasses because everyone else was wearing sunglasses in the thing, so I wanted to put them on. Maybe do my best Morpheus impression. I didn't even think to try to impress Morpheus. I was like, all right, we're gonna go low. Anyways, hey, Matrix Resurrection review. There's been a lot of things coming out this month. So if you want to see some of my other reviews of the things that I've been talking about, like Spider-Man, Hawkeye, hit this right here and go check it out and tell me what you think. Also, this is a spoiler free, so don't worry about any spoilers if you were worried about that kind of stuff. If you do want to talk to me about these movies, TV shows, and things like that, all things nerdy, check out my stream at twitch.tv/digitalhero101. I stream every Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday, and I have a good time, and I love talking to people about things. So hop in. Let's talk about movies. Anyways, The Matrix Resurrection. Okay, so I've heard a lot of mixed reviews. Matter of fact, this film is basically sitting at a score of 6 out of 10, right? That's where it's averaging. I really like this film. So here's what I do. I like to tell you guys kind of the good, the bad, maybe some of the stuff in between, my experience with the film and what I think people will like about it, what I think people will not like about it. So I personally liked it. I would recommend people to go watch the film. I think it definitely leads into maybe watching the other 3 films and you'll have a better understanding. I think what people don't like about this film, I haven't read any of the comments, but if I were to assume what I think people don't like about this film, because Jeff, my co-host on my podcast, he didn't seem like he was too great about it. This film's very meta about itself, and I think that's what bothered a lot of people, is that it was meta. It made a lot of meta jokes, and it made it come off as probably cringy. However, I guess I saw it through a different lens, because I saw it as very much self-aware, and that's kind of what Matrix is, and it's telling a story. It's evolved with the times, and it's evolved within its own Matrix, and it's telling a different story about different things. Whereas before, the Matrix used to be about them connecting to the internet and a bunch of other, topics of sorts. But now, it's us always being connected to our phones. And not just our phones, but social media in general, and the internet, and us being just a few taps away from being connected with someone else or having any information that we need at our fingertips. And so I think that the film not only talks about that and is very self-aware about that, but also goes into the movie industry and talks about that. I mean, that's what Matrix always does, right? There's always bringing up. It's always been self-aware in a way, in its own way, and it doesn't try to hide it. I think that was a big charm of the film. I think there were a lot of callbacks in the film. And they were good. They didn't distract. I think I keep saying I think a lot. Wow. This is actually, if you didn't know, this is I'm 4 reviews in. I was just knocking out these reviews one after the other. So I almost said it again. I think again. But I mean, back to the topic on hand. The story is something that you can follow. It's something you can keep up with. It can seem a little convoluted. Maybe on a second watch things become a bit more clear, but as my first watch through, and I was watching it pretty late at night at home, I was doing my best to keep myself I was able to keep up with really what was going on in the plot and all the things that are going on, and I enjoyed. The best thing I can say about this film is that it's more like an epilogue. It's an epilogue to the other films in general. It's a very good continuation of what happened. It's you watch Matrix 3 Revolutions and you can't help but wonder, I wonder how it all worked out. I wonder what it all looks like. And we get to see it. We get to see what, Trinity and Neo's sacrifice led to. And the way that they, things come back and the way that they play things out throughout the film and how they get certain characters in certain positions and who these new characters are and how everyone fits in, to me, feels really good. It feels really natural, actually. There's nothing about it that I was just upset with. I don't think there's any reason to really be upset with it. The way that they explain and how the references and the imagery. Oh my gosh, there's so much imagery that that is in your face, but there's also a lot of imagery that's not in your face that is just callbacks and references. And Lana Wachowski does such a good job at making sure almost everything has meaning, right? Like everything's pointing or going towards something. And even in the references and the callbacks and how this Matrix is being run and the AI is, it's all connected. it all fits and it all makes sense. Really, I think that's the charm of the film. I think the charm of the film is that it's modernized, but it also shows the progression of what's happened since Matrix Revolution. And that's really all it needs to be. Because whenever you reboot a series, what are you gonna do with it? What are you gonna do other than, like, I guess, tell a recap? Or I guess you want to show something more. But these characters have had their stories, they've had their things, and I think, like, playing this out in an epilogue fashion was the best way to do it. I disagree with the fact that this movie is kind of rated as lowly it is. I honestly, I say that, but I'm probably gonna give it I'd give it like a 7 or an 8. Honestly, like, the film is good. It's not just okay. It's good. It's good. It's a watch. It's an enjoyable watch. It's fun to look at. I am kind of disappointed in the some of the action sequences. I can be kind of a snob about that kind of stuff. I think the action sequences, there was a lot of cuts and it's hard to keep up with what's going on in all their fightings. And with the film that did bullet time, I was hoping we'd get a little more of that, but they're trying new stuff and they're doing new things. So the action sequences were kind of like early 2000s kind of stuff, like Jason Bourne, close to that kind of thing that kind of bothered me. Other than that, I mean, cinematography was great, set pieces were great, characters and side characters went together. There wasn't a lot of just character growth. Most of it was focused on Neo. That's good. I didn't really need anything outside from the side characters. I didn't need those stories because a lot of this stuff they introduced a lot of new characters into this film. So I don't think it was necessary for them all to get their own story and for them all to grow and things like that. The people were showing up to see Neo, right? And so they gave us that's what we were given. That's honestly, I think the film's good. I think if you are not gonna like the film, it might be because of how meta it actually is. That might be a big complaint with people. Other than that, I think that's its charm. I think that's its strong suit. So check it out. Tell me what you think. Tell me if I'm wrong, or just let me know. We can chat it out. I'd love to hear what you have to say in the comments below. But I'll doing these things. I'm probably gonna keep them up, and we'll see where it goes from there. Until next time, guys. Play nice.